Well, hello and welcome to the Slim Nations One-on-Ones podcast. Of course, I'm Slim Overton, and I'm here with a special guest tonight, and so glad to see him. I saw this guy grow up from a little guy, from a little guy, and you can't imagine that now because now he's a big guy, a real guy, big guy if you see him in person. But a good brother, and Davy Smith III, and he's been on one of our shows, off and on for a long time. It's always good to have him back. And of course, he's a Narcom grad. He's Behold the Green and Gold grad. You
That's
know what
right.
that
That's
is.
fun. That's right.
Played semi-pro football and played football at both of those institutions I mentioned, and
Hmm.
played semi-pro ball and
Pro football
and
too.
and pro football too. Don't leave that
Yes,
out.
sir. Yes, sir.
So don't make him mad. He's a peaceful guy, but he get the job done. But anyway, uh, have him here, and excuse my voice, a little cold. I don't know if it's an allergy, but we have him here. He agreed to come on and talk to me tonight, and I wanted to talk to him about his positive videos and his work in the community. Those of you who don't know what he's done in the community, I saw the promise in him as a young fellow, and I didn't have him in my group. Ray Smith had him in his group, but it was a collection of groups. I had fellows from my neighborhood, and Ray had fellows from all over, and Davy was one of them. And I saw his dedication then, coming from humble beginnings, coming from public housing, that that didn't hold him back. I don't think it held anybody back out there. You see a lot of success stories from people that were in public housing and all the neighborhoods around it. It all depends on the influences you had at an early age. And I believe he had some really positive influences at an early age within his family and outside of his family. And you can see it's showing now. But he's been chairman of the Planning Commission of Portsmouth, the youngest chairman ever in the history of the Planning Commission. Been the chair of the Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and involved in several other committees for the city and outside of the city along with his own endeavors. And I want to start with this, David. Looking at your Facebook page, and your motto is relentless. And looking at your Facebook page, it says, "Don't sell your soul for acceptance. You'll never get proper compensation."
That's
What a
right.
powerful statement. Can you expound on that? Because evidently you picked it up. I don't know if you came up with that yourself or
I,
something you found somewhere and sort of held on to. But
something I
sort of,
found
sort
some.
of talk about that.
It's something I found somewhere, and
Okay.
it just resonated. I even remember like people talking to me when I served in boards commissions, and they, like you say, seen the promise. And one thing one colleague said to me is, "I respect you. You know what you need to do? Continue to be your own man." And that resonates. Not selling my soul, because it's not worth it. Can't put a price tag on it. Just having a backbone, having integrity, man, and just being a solid guy, being a solid human being.
Yeah, and integrity, that's a very important word, especially these days when we see it at a high level, we don't
Yes, sir.
see it. But,
Yes, sir.
you can't let that deter you from what you feel inside and how you were raised and your development. And you know, just being around you, and I'm sure other people can attest to it, just being around you, you give off those positive vibes. And I know you're going through things just like anybody else, life be life, and like they say.
Yes, sir. Life
But,
does be life. Yes, sir. Yeah.
but you got to look at it like you do, and not everybody looks at it. That relentless thing means that you can just tackle anything. I use a football
It,
analogy there,
and
but you
it's
can
amazing
tackle
that,
anything that comes your way. It
yes,
might
sir.
be tough, but anything worth having is worth fighting for.
Yes, sir. And
So
when
that's why I look at relentless.
and just to give you this about Relentless. Relentless came from reading a book.
Mm.
You remember the time they did the article on me and kind of went viral?
Yeah,
I wore the Barry Sanders shirt. Some people got mad, but I don't care anyway. And and the irony of it was that we were turned down Jeffrey Wilson when I was on the planning commission, and it was like, wow, I'm turning down something that I came from to make it better.
right,
And it was like an aha moment. And after that, the lady came back and wanted to do a story on me. We know the story went viral. It went out there all
right.
over the world. People from overseas were hitting me up and everything because they didn't know the story. And the relentless came
Right.
from me reading the book by Tim S. Grover, is the guy who was like the trainer for Michael Jordan, but he also helped him train in his mind. And the book
Hmm.
is Relentless, and that's how the brand was actually birthed. And it's all about a mindset from going to being from good to great to unstoppable. And you know me as a person, and when my mind is set, it's set, and I'm focused. I'm gonna go get it.
Definitely
So
is.
that's how Relentless was birthed and born. I was speaking to the middle school students at Churchland Middle School at the time. And one of the kids said, "Mom, can that be my dad?" And she said, "No, he's married, baby." And that young man now, he's doing very well for our Lassiter. He is playing at Livingstone College. He actually just won a ring with Virginia State playing basketball.
Oh,
He was back in the portal, went back to Livingstone. And I'm still working with him to this day. But I told him I would be his godfather, how Ray Smith did me. And that
yeah,
quote stuck, and that's how the brand was born. That's what really
yeah.
happened.
And I forgot to mention this important fact too, that you're a member of Omega Psi Phi,
Fraternity
and
Incorporated, yes, sir.
which is also a part of your development.
Yes, sir. That it
As a
is.
person, as a man,
Yes.
and being a part of that organization or any organization in the Divine Nine
Mm-hmm.
means continuous, giving back to the
Mm-hmm.
community. It just doesn't stop at the
Mm-hmm.
college level.
It
Being a
doesn't.
Omega Psi Phi, you take that until you die, and you just give back. So all that is a part of your development, and to
Slim.
who you are today. And I would say you're still developing, brother.
Thank you, Slim. And Slim, right now I serve as for our district, which is DC and Virginia, the third district. I
Mhm,
serve as the vice chair for the father and mentoring for my district, and now I'm coming up to be the chair. And
mhm,
it's very exciting just not to serve in the district, but I also serve nationwide, and I represent the district on the international level where we have a conference called the Youth Leadership Conference that's coming up in July. Real excited about that. And just meeting young men from all over the world. We did it in the Bahamas one year, and it's just incredible that you're meeting these young men and anywhere from the ages of, now we're getting into the younger kids, but it's usually middle school and high schoolers. But now we realize we got to get the young ones too, because they got to learn.
mhm.
And we'll take the other young ones and mentor them. So we're lifting up
Right.
and
It starts
climbing,
there.
as you said. There you go.
It
Yes,
starts
sir.
there. And,
So
and as we
that's
talk about, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes,
I didn't
sir.
mean to interrupt.
And we just came back from our district conference where the chapter I'm in is SKK Chesapeake. We won the social action for a small chapter, and then we won the small graduate chapter year for the work we're doing in the community, like you say. But now I'm financial with Zeta Iota and Portsmouth. So guess what? I'm about to get the father of the mentoring work done over here too in my own hometown. So it's real exciting. Some good things are
Yes,
coming.
man.
Yes, sir.
And as we talk about, and also as I think about you, from where you were raised, and you talked about it on this show before, what you went through as a young kid and what you witnessed within your family, with your mother and then your father. The most compelling story I think that is always worth repeating to me is after all that went through that time when you got a chance to meet your father and he expected something different because of what the way he uh, approached the family, and you took it to another level, a higher level, you know, and so sort of tell that story again. The time you saw him, it
Well,
was rage building up in you, but you know, tell that. I'll let you tell it.
yeah, it was raised building up in me, like you said. My dad had his own things going on, of course. It happens. It happens. And I remember the reconnect when, like, it's the last 3 years when he had cancer, and we
Mm-hmm.
started to build again. And I told him I was okay. I
Mm-hmm.
told him I forgive him, and that was the main thing. The hardness I had around my heart, I had to let it go because I felt like he won't there. But guess what? That wasn't by he did have a choice in it, but I looked at it like this spiritually. God set Davy the way he was gonna set Davy. You gotta go down this path. You gotta go through this, but I ain't gonna tell you, you gotta go through it. So I'm thankful for the village like you, Slim. I'm thankful for the Rays. I'm thankful for the mother Verls of the world. I'm thankful for those men and women in the village, in Portsmouth and beyond that helped me still grow to be the young man that I am today. I consider myself young. Even though I'm 46, I still consider myself young. I'm just getting started, they
Oh
say.
yeah, you young brother. Take it from me. You're young. You're still
Yes,
young.
sir.
And
It,
and I brought that story up because as we talk about the violence that goes on now, and
mhm.
sometimes what's missing is taking it back. We trying to figure out all the things we can do to sort of curb it or maybe stop it, especially with our young people.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't go. We don't look at the parents or in the home. It's a certain responsibility in the home at a young age that parents might have. And some of those kids can be turned around right there in the home from
Hmm.
influences outside of the home, men
That's right.
mentoring,
That's right.
and if the kid is in the right frame, because most kids I notice they want the help. I mean, they might not show it right out
Hmm.
because they're trying to be cool and impress their peers. But most young men and young ladies, they're looking for the help. If it's not in the home, they're really looking for it, but they don't always know how to ask for it or go after it without feeling like I'm chumping out.
That's
Just
right.
to use that term. So you're a classic example. That's why I wanted to raise that, and we need to have a focus. That's where some of the solutions might be as far as solving some of these issues. Catching it
That's right.
early,
Hmm.
putting those influences out there early, plant
That's
that
right. There you
seed
go.
early. You
Yes,
still
sir.
might have some problems, but once you
Hmm.
plant that seed, as
That's
they
right.
grow, that
Yes.
seed will grow as well.
That's right. And it's
And
proof.
then you
It's
get a
proof.
young man like yourself.
Y'all did it with me. It's proof. It's the
Yeah,
proof is there. So, and how many people come back to their own hometown? Most people don't.
right. Most people
They
go
they
away. Yeah,
they're going to be successful, and I'm not knocking them. Some
yeah.
people going to do that, and some people
Don't
going to come
knock them for
back.
that either. If
No,
the
I don't.
opportunity is somewhere else, right?
That's right. Because wherever they go, they're still going to plant those seeds,
Hmm.
and that's the proper thing to do, paying it forward. Um, like this week, I can share this with you. This week, I am going to speak with the Chesapeake, Virginia Beach alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. Their Embody
Hmm.
program is Barbershop Talk Part 3. And the topic I believe they have me speaking on as a keynote this weekend is it's called An Exploration on Entrepreneurship and Other Pathways to Success. Who better story? I'm an entrepreneur. And there are other
Yeah,
pathways besides, because I know every kid ain't gonna do like me and you and go get a degree. Everybody not gonna do that. So it goes back to having a trade. It goes back to becoming an entrepreneur. Those things, we still need those things. Right now, James, there are more jobs in a little bit that are in other fields that don't require a degree, just require certification. And they can make six
right.
figures. That's
And
amazing,
you
man.
never know how creative some young people can do it, create their own thing. And you mentioned entrepreneur, and I was going to bring that up next. Where did you get that entrepreneur spirit from? And, I think it came real early.
It did.
Was it watching other people?
It
Because
it
I
was
think you
watching.
grew up in an era where it was a lot of
Let's be real.
black men in the neighborhood that had their own places, their own businesses, and things like that.
And I hate to say it, it's twofold. There was those who were doing the the illegal things and those doing the
The
legal things.
illegal
It
thing.
is what it is.
It's
But you still was
entrepreneurs as well.
yes, you still exposed to it. So I remember the bug really like started to get me in middle school. No, let me take that
Mm,
back. At the time it was called Churchland Junior High. That's what it was when I was in
mm.
school. I think I was the last of that era. And I remember selling blow pops and sunflower seeds. And I was making so much money. The security guy stopped me Mr. Booth, I'll never forget his name. Had them old big old glasses. But at Churchland Junior High, man. And then I guess again as I got older, I got the itch. We were having college parties. We did well with that. Made sure the
Mhm.
fraternity made its money. I learned real quick. I had a little stipend when I was in graduate school. So I would buy 100 tickets. Tickets were $10 in
Yeah,
advance. I would hold on to them. I would wait till the week of and then sell them. I'll take the price up.
yeah,
It's
because
inflation, but they were
you
smart
know,
business.
those last minute people would want
There
tickets
you
and
go.
were
Yes, sir.
willing to pay the price.
Yes,
So,
sir.
with you starting in middle school like that, it's kind of hard
Yeah.
as you got older to work for
Hmm.
somebody when you have that kind of spirit in you and it can work because
Yes,
you
sir.
did it at a young age and all
Hmm.
through college, to sustain yourself, So
Yes,
when
sir.
you got out there in the world, you said, well, hey, now what, let me just see what I'm gonna do now. So where did you go from then after college? Did you ever have one of those traditional 9 to 5s, or did you
I
just go
did.
right to the
I did.
you
I
did?
did. I remember after coming back from playing pro football. First, I was a school teacher.
Oh,
After
okay,
a-
okay.
then I got picked up to play arena football. Went and did pro football. Came back, went into the nonprofit sector, and we worked in the community of HIV and AIDS. And we were
Mm,
doing reentry, so we was dealing with those that were affected coming out to make sure they get services they need. And then after that, I think that was kind of like the last straw for me. I think I did some in-home and some day treatment stuff like that. And then I was like, you know what? And then I got introduced to Legal Shield multi-level marketing. And then I just got
mhm.
the itch. Started making clothes. The stuff I learned from planning, became a consultant in the housing. So you have Smith Consulting and Networking LLC. I'm not crazy because I know how to get the deals done and people pay for that.
Right.
People pay for solutions. So that light bulb went off. I seen a lot of guys in front of me, the predecessors, the people that were on commissions, and they took that knowledge and they used it. So now that I'm not in the public sector anymore, I'm going back into the private sector.
Yeah.
I can do this. I've gained the relationships. I can do the same thing my counterparts do.
Yeah, and a lot of people that could serve on boards and commissions or do things, they might say, "Well, man, why would I do anything like that and not get paid for it?"
That's right.
The connections and that you make serving on some of those boards is a benefit to you down the road. Because
Yes,
when
sir.
you get out there and start doing your own thing, you say, "Okay, I
That's right.
met so of so and
Mm-hmm.
so LLC.
That's
He
right.
might be able to help me. Let me go to him,
Mm-hmm.
or he might have a building or something."
Yes, sir.
Any of those connections, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes introducing you to somebody else, that makes clothes. So, sometimes you have to do those things for free,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
it's
right.
not really free.
That's right.
The
I, I
gratification
call it.
of doing something for your community is enough pay for some people.
I call it going to school because I'm getting education.
Exactly.
I am getting
That's
education. So you think about this. I was on the planning commission. I first got up to my first year, and you and Ray recommended that. Hey, go for that. And you were on economic development time. Said I was going to do well, and I did well. My first year,
yeah,
I was on the board. My second year, vice chair. The last quarter of the year, became the chairman of the manager, and I was the chair ever since.
yeah.
And that happened fast, and I
And
learned the rules.
the youngest to ever do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see this history. 31 years old.
Yeah,
Yes,
and the
sir.
connections you made then, you probably still have those connections now. Or you could pick up the phone, and
Yes,
say,
sir.
"Hey, I'm doing this," because it's been some projects that you've been involved with, probably directly from some of the
Let's
connections you
let's
made while
let's
you were in the
let's
commission.
let's go and talk about it real quick. Can I run them down real quick, James?
Yeah, run them down.
Seaboard Seaboard Square, you see, is here because of me. The
Uh,
apartments you see on Court Street, that nice building there, I was a part of that as the
right.
chair. The apartments you see at the old Wells Fargo building, because of me. The new Chick-fil-A you see, the first of its kind, 114 parking spaces. Davy was the chairman. Kroger you see, Davy was the chairman. Do I need to keep going?
You can keep going because
So
I feel you because I served
yeah,
on that board too,
that's
and
right. So there
way
you go.
before you, and I ride around the city today and see things that
Yeah,
we were a big part of,
big
and
part of.
that gratification is nothing like that. So
Yeah,
that's why I was
like the casino.
kind of
Oh,
against when they wanted to pay
uh huh.
commissioners, but that was a personal thing, that individual
Gotcha.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in some cities, they do get stipends. It depends where you are. Like if I was a commissioner
Yeah,
in New York City, I would get paid a salary because it's
yeah.
different.
It's stipends, yeah, New York
Yeah,
City because
yeah. You
the
would get, yeah.
areas you have to cover and the meetings you have to, it's almost like a
It's like it's a
full-time
job. It is. It is.
position.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah. And the bigger cities is way different. And the bigger cities
right.
is way different. So, um, and like you said, it's a job. It is what it is. It is a job.
Yeah,
So like you say, for the experience I have garnered, working in the city, and a lot of people knows this. And I know you're talking to me personally about my personal brand, and we not talk about politics. And they seen me run for public office too. I didn't win,
yeah.
but man, what I
We're
learned.
gonna, I want to talk
Yeah.
about politics
Yep.
because
I know you'll
you've been
segue to it.
involved in that too.
Yes,
You've
sir.
been involved in that too, helping other people get elected and things like that.
Yes,
And
sir.
one thing about it, and Davy ran for city council and wasn't successful. I think back to a guy, his name was Johnny Clemens, back in the day, and he ran about 3 or 4 times before
Gotcha.
he made it to council. And talking to him, he said every time he learned something.
That's
Every
right.
time he lost, he learned something. He learned a different way. And when he finally got on council, he was a pretty successful city council person.
Good.
He was ready,
Good.
you know, uh, and if you ask him, he probably said that first time he probably wasn't as ready as he would like to be,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't know that then. But as he, moved forward and learning from those lessons. So how, I mean, how was that for you? I know being around and helping many other candidates in different state, local, and national get elected by working on their campaigns and
Yes,
being,
sir.
and then you say, well, I can do this too. And you decided to go for it and it wasn't successful, but that's how things go.
Yeah,
And anybody that runs for office, you don't run not unless you feel you can win.
that's right.
So when you don't, it's very disappointing. But like you said earlier, it's part of that life lesson.
Yeah.
So how's it going now? Was that something you learned from that you can take
Well,
to the next time?
yeah, I've learned some things that I need to do, need to work on. Getting more folks involved. A lot of stuff I did, you saw it was grassroots, and I did a great job of raising money, and
Yeah,
people helped me out. And this time, and just an election, it was 11 people in the race. We know that,
yeah,
and let's just be real. Only 57% of our city voted. That's not a good thing. So we got to
that's
get the
not a
voter
good
turnout
thing.
better. That's not a good thing across the board. And I'll say it like I tell anybody else: all politics are local. It's not a
Yeah,
trickle down effect. It's a trickle up. I
right.
stand on that because guess what? We are the voice here because the other people need you. The
Yeah.
state representatives
And
need
whatever
you.
happens on the
There
local
you go.
level affects you
There you go.
directly
There
the
you go.
next
Affects you
day,
right now.
not in July, not next year,
That's
but
right. Yes,
next
sir.
day.
It affects you right now.
So,
So
but let me
and
let me
yeah.
ask
Go
you
ahead.
this, Dave.
Yes,
You
sir.
mentioned about the 10 people running, and we were talking to somebody from Hampton the other day. Was on the show, and they were complaining about the amount of people running for 3 seats, and and you don't want to, you can't deny people running for the seats. Now, we know things are different, and some of us old heads will go back and talk about the times when we would come together and try to figure out who would be the best candidate
Hmm.
at that time. But it was a different era because we were trying to break the color barrier.
Yes, true that. Yes, sir.
So we really had to figure out who would be the best person this time.
Hmm.
And we could talk to some of the other people and say, okay, next time we'll support you. But I don't know if we ever get back to that kind of
Yeah.
system,
Get back to
but
that kind of system.
we need something similar, but because more people are more individualist now,
Yeah.
and you're not going to talk them out once they decide that
Hmm.
they're going to run. But for the most part, something like that has to take place because sometimes people that could really be good for that position because you got 10 people voting running, the votes are so saturated, and then you have a voter pool that's apathetic and not even
Yes,
going out there to vote. So you have to depend on a
that's right.
small percentage of the people
Hmm.
in order to win to represent all people,
That's the
which is
truth.
crazy.
that's the crazy part. And congratulations to those folks who win, because I do know, I still know those folks personally. And
Mm,
just just going through the process though, man. I know what it is to take a loss. And I think what hurt the most is just knowing people didn't vote.
yeah,
That's the part that got me. And that's just my personal preference of that. I could take a loss. I've been hit on the chin before. Like you said, you gotta have tough
yeah,
skin and a strong chin. And I think just from my upbringing alone, I've probably been called every name in the book before I became a grown man. So
yeah.
just some of the things I've
And we
seen.
are.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing when you in a race, win or lose, and you got 63, 68 or some thousand people registered, but
that's
it
it.
takes just 15,000 people to put somebody in office.
It's weird.
You
It's
know,
weird.
an
That ain't good.
individual in office.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
20,000, out of
Hmm.
63,000 people, out of 90, almost 100,000 people in the city. But
Yes, sir. Hmm.
that's the way it is, and all you can do is get out there and continue to do like you did. I think you ran a good grassroots campaign, which is necessary these days.
Yes, sir.
Um, I think you did what you had to do. It's just
I
the
did.
people didn't get out to vote, and
Yes, sir.
and the amount of people running for the amount of seats.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And the beautiful part is, it's not over.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Can we look for you down the road sometime?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to say when or whatever. So,
Yes, sir.
but I kind of knew that. I knew that
Yeah.
answer before I asked you.
Yes, sir.
So,
It's a look, when I say I got folks from all over the country reaching out to me right now that know me, fraternity
mm,
brothers, people in the Divine Nine, and they're asking the question, David, you know you got to do this again, David. You know you got to do. So, for those people that are not here, the first thing I say, I need you sending your support.
yeah, continue to
Send your
support.
support. Yeah, send your
Mm,
support. That support helped me get votes. I got to pay for marketing and all that stuff. So yeah.
yeah, and I think another thing you did too, you kind of got out there early. You got to give people time to know who you are,
Yes,
and
sir.
even if you've been out there in the public, you'd be surprised how many people don't keep up with stuff
I
and
had a
don't know
lot
who
of
you are.
folks had a lot of folks walk up to me and she said, "You're Davy Smith." Oh my! And it was like after that they start talking to their friends. So now I kind of know what I gotta do. Like you said, going back around
Yeah, yeah.
other segments of our community I got to get into.
Yeah, it'd be good. So what keeps David Smith ticking? We know you're motivated and with the relentless, but you have to get up like everybody else every day and get yourself ready. And some days it might not be there. What keeps you ticking and what keeps you motivated to just get out there and put one foot in front of the other with a purpose?
Meditation, prayer, exercise.
Wow. Can't beat
Meditation,
that combination.
prayer,
Mind,
and
body, and
exercise.
soul.
Yes, sir.
Mind, body, and
And
soul.
and now, like, it's my second day back. I love to walk, right? Because I ain't doing all that running no more. I might work my way back up to it. Today I did almost 4.5 miles in an hour, and that's good for
Wow.
my second day back. That means I'm moving real fast at a nice pace walking. So tomorrow I may try to jog a half a mile just to see how I feel, just to push
Yeah.
myself a little more. And it's just
And,
all about
and
challenging
every time I
myself.
see you, you upbeat. Kind of brings me up when I see you. And
Yes, sir.
that's what people do like you.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
People that are always upbeat. You sort of bring the people around you have to have that same attitude because
Yeah.
it's contagious.
Hey.
What I want to ask you now, you talk to a lot of young people, and you mentioned about high schoolers. What are some of the things? I guess you have to wherever you go to, you have to kind of read the room and
Yes,
and and, and see. You can't go with the same speech everywhere. You look at some of the kids' faces,
I've
they will.
yes,
I
I've
can't
learned.
come this way with them.
Yeah, I've
Go
learned
ahead.
to. I thank God for that gift, learning how, like you said, to read the room. Um, but also, I'll try to do some research. Just doing research on the
Mm,
school or looking at the trends, what's going on. That's the reason why we got to pay the social media because they're paying attention to it.
Right.
That's their lane. That's their vein. That's what they do. They're the TikTokers. They're the Instagrammers. And what I see more of our elders that are seasoned like you, the sages, they like Facebook, and it's just
Yeah.
knowing your audience. And like you said, it goes back to politics, knowing my audience. Some on TikTok, some on Instagram. I raised majority of my money, James, on Instagram for people I didn't even talk to.
Wow. Yeah. I
Just hit them
mean,
direct. Just hit them directly.
right. And you got to know all the avenues and be able to read the students. So
Yeah.
when you're talking to the students, how do you feel? How do you feel it is with the students now? A lot of us older guys go to the games and things like that, and we don't feel that same spirit among the students. I think it might be kind of coming back now because they probably it's probably was some times when they were looking at us and the way we were acting
Mm-hmm.
and saying,
It's
"Wow,
and
how
what I
can you
noticed
tell me
too.
something? Y'all acting a fool in public." So
Yeah.
how do you feel? You've been around a lot
I
of the young
I
kids. How do you feel we're
I see
going with it?
now with them, we got to get them involved. We got to
Mm,
expose them to other great things. They're more than just they are a microwave generation, so they want it right now. And it's a microwave mentality, which me and you, we okay with grandma going in that thing and cooking that thing up right. So by the time we get this meal, it's all worth it. And that's just one of the analogies I want to use. But kids also and young people pay attention who's authentic. Like you said about my energy you feel.
right.
And I just thank God the most high for that, for keeping me balanced. I got days where I'm off. And I got days where I gotta fight through and I still gotta smile. As they say, smile
Mm.
like nothing ain't funny and scratch your head like it don't itch. We all got
I
those
like that.
days, James, where we gotta do this right
Yeah.
here. And sometimes we gotta what you say, laugh from this, stop from crying.
And to stop them crying or
Yeah,
just
man. So
reset and
yeah,
say,
reset.
okay,
Yeah.
you know,
And James,
like my, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and I'll say this, and as men and as black men, we gotta find a place where we can talk, where we
Yeah.
can be uh I really don't like the word vulnerable, but I like the word transparent.
Yeah.
So
That is
when you look at the
something.
when you look at the definition of the two, they'll figure it out later when they go look up the definition, y'all. You'll see where I'm going with that. But anyway,
Mhm.
but those are some of the things too, because how is it every day I got to go out the door and it's like, man, I got to get ready to fight, and it's just sad that way, but I do. If
Yeah.
it's like if it's one thing or another, not making an excuse, but it's like, dang, I'm always in fight mode, and I didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for that.
And,
So
and just dealing with the normalcy, and now, the world is kind of crazy right now, starting at the top.
yes, it
So
is. I
you have
mean,
to fight that, it's almost like
mhm.
we're going backwards
Yes,
sometime.
sir.
And, you have to fight a little harder, you
Hmm.
know, just to, just to make it or convince your own people
Hmm.
that you're for real. Yeah.
Yeah, and like anything else, man, James, we just need some kind of a common place where we can get to some solidarity so we can move forward. You
Yeah.
know,
Uh,
I think I think the Chinese or it's the Asians that say it best. They say chaos is not in their vocabulary. They see opportunity.
right.
So what I see is opportunity. We know what the problems
And
are, but what are the solutions? What are the
yeah, what are the
solutions?
solutions? It's
Yeah,
good to
we know what
talk
our
about
problems.
it, but
Yeah,
it's good to talk about it. We need to talk about it, have that communication, but we also got to have solutions. And I
yeah,
like the part you said earlier, where you got that quote from, is from reading.
yes,
And
sir.
I'm involved with a group of men, and we trying to grow that. We'll pick a book and then we
Okay,
come together and discuss it.
got you.
And the last book we picked, it was called James. It was a novel by this brother
Okay,
who was writing about, the story of Huckleberry Finn, and it's a
uh,
black slave in there. So
got you.
James is the slave's version of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And it
Wow.
talks about how he had to dummy himself down because he used to sneak and read. And
Mm,
so he was a wordsmith. But around the white folks, he had to dummy himself down
mm.
to so they wouldn't hang him, pretty much or lynch him because he wasn't
Yes,
supposed to
sir.
be reading. But as we were talking about it, we related a lot of things that are going on today. And I said, well, what a good way to start conversation with men. And it was a young college student in there too, with
Mhm.
men, by taking a book and reading it and then trying to relate it to, what's going on today. And we had a very, very good conversation there. So just like you said, men need to talk, need to get together and talk and come up with solutions, you know, workable solutions.
Mhm. And James, and you and I both know this, and there are solutions, but also we need
Yeah,
resources. Like
yeah,
we know people that got the money that can, if you really got a heart for it, help. Give us some
yeah.
give us some assistance. Not begging, but give us some assistance. We got enough nonprofits we can actually where you can get your write off if you need to get a write off from giving back. And it's a lot of people around here that we do know
Yeah,
that they're not seen, but they give back. And we just got to take time, man. You got to make time, take time to give back to do. And my job is to pay it forward to do what you guys did for me, and I'm doing it, and I'm living proof. I'm not trying to brag
you
anything, but
really
it's
are.
in me
You
now.
really are doing
It's,
this
it's, it's part of my
at a,
purpose.
at a higher level than we did, which I appreciate that.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so why don't you tell everybody how your business, especially the clothes you make? I mean,
Well,
uh, excellent product, and how to get in touch with you, and because some things you do, I mean,
yes,
by
sir.
request or something like that.
Give me 1 second. I'm about to give you my website for Relentless. The Relentless
Okay,
website is it's www.relentless number 9.com, and that's how you can order the shirts. And we're gonna put the Portsmouth shirt up here soon. You see, I took the team logos and I kind of made the word Portsmouth and Relentless on the shirt here, um, and that's exciting. And other brand James that
what
spin it
is it?
off.
It's relentless. Excuse me,
Re-
relentless, and what?
Number nine, the number 9.com.
Number nine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the other brand that I have is the letter ahbcunation.com, where you can get your apparel from the HBCUs, which we have. We're working on some licenses right now, so we really can make some big things happen. Real excited about it. When I see you, I got a Virginia Union shirt for you too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I got a Norcom hoodie and a Virginia Union shirt. I'm due for another
Gotcha.
Virginia Union shirt, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, and I have to tell y'all, he has a good product out there, and he can customize whatever you want. I'm still
Yes, sir.
working with him. We got to get together. I need
Yes,
some
sir.
Slim Nation stuff. Need some Slim Nation
And look,
stuff. And
and let me say this for the record. Davy Smith III is the one who came up with Norcom State, because of my brother
yeah, yeah,
Jelani Patterson said it, and I ran with it. He said, "You know what? You
yeah,
did." My nickname Money, folks. For y'all don't know me, my nickname is Money, but that's family. But Money is my nickname. But
yeah.
Norcom State was started
And
by me.
they were prophets. They gave you that name at an early age, money,
Yes, sir.
because
They were.
that's what you turn out to be. All not
Yes,
all
sir.
about the money, but money.
Yeah.
Uh, you got to have a good product in order
Yes,
to
sir.
to offer to the people, or
That's
they
right.
won't come back.
Product got to be
But
good.
yeah, yeah. But we'll get together. We've been talking about it for a while, but we get together with that Slim
Yes, sir.
Nation thing. I need
I
something,
got you.
and it's going to have to
We'll
be
get.
a big product, because I
There
don't
you
want to
go.
buy one. I want to have a
That's
lot of
right.
them that I can
You be ready.
either
There you
give
go.
away or sell. I
You
don't
can
know
push
which
them
way
out
I'm gonna
there.
do it.
That's
Yeah,
right. I'm here to
yeah,
assist you. I'm here to help you. Yes, sir.
yeah. So as we wind down, what I mean, I know you always have some good quotes or some good things to say, and not necessarily to just to the young people or to people in general. As far as just trying to live their life, because you don't always have to walk around holding your head down, because
Mm-hmm.
life is going to kick you in the butt. No matter what. No
Yeah.
matter how much money you got or how little money you got,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to have to face those things. So tell us,
Well,
okay, go ahead.
well, for the listeners out there today in Slim Nation, I just want to tell you to be encouraged. I know it may seem grim, you may seem dismayed, but you got to see it through. You're only meeting what men have met, but I'll say slash women too. Because trust me, we've probably been through the same stuff. I told a friend of mine I'm
Indeed.
based on a true. I told a friend of mine I'm based on a true story. We all are based on a true story. We all are
Yeah.
authors. We just haven't published our books yet. So you got a great story within you, and it got to come out so the world needs to know. And you need to be the narrator, not nobody else. You can get an editor,
Right.
but you need to be the narrator of that story. You need to control your narrative. Get you a board of visitors, like you heard what I said on the other thing. Get you a board of visitors. Have you that spiritual person? Have you that financial person? Have you your wife or your spouse or your husband? It might be grandma. Grandma might be the spiritual person to help you out with that wisdom on the call, or your granddaddy, or your preacher,
Yeah.
whoever it be, your minister, your
Or a neighbor
imam,
in the
yeah,
neighborhood. Yeah.
or in the neighborhood. And,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to, as I say, pray, meditate, or meditate, pray, exercise. You want something different? They said you got to do something different. Bar my belief in you, folks, till your belief kicks in. I'll say it again. Bar my belief in you till your belief kicks in. But I just want to encourage you today. And James, it's crazy for the segue. You say I'm doing this. You do know I started DS3 Inspires. I did that on purpose. It's my
Yeah.
acronym for my name, Dave Smith III. So
Yeah.
that site will be coming up soon, and that'll deal with all my public speaking thing if people want me to come speak. And it's just real exciting, man. It have a lot of things, so many things going on right now. That we have another matter of fact, what you talked about men, and just going back what I'm encouraging right now. We have an event at Roger Brown's. Give me 1 second here, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. Um, we have an event coming up at Roger Brown's. At first, we had it in Chesapeake, but something is being done to the church over there. So we have a meeting that's going to be at the back of Roger Brown's. It's called the we call it hold on 1 second, James. We call it Iron Sharpens Iron Men Talk Conference 2025. It'll be at Roger Brown's on April 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I am on I'm on the panel as a community advocate. There's a couple other guys up there. City Councilman Les Smith from Chesapeake. I'm looking at the flyer here. Got TJ Hooks, American broker, first class real estate. Major Wiggins, business owner. Um Liberty Bell Bondsman is going to be there. Um, Coach recruiting coordinator going to be up there. Chris Curry and Trayvon Cuffey. He's the presentation of Connect to Excel Inc., which is a nonprofit, and also brother Latif Gibson of LG Studios. So it's going to be a really exciting, man. And I'll make
Yeah. I
sure you
like
get
that.
information. Yeah, I'll
Like
make
a
sure you get
regional
information.
thing.
Yeah, so we're doing it right here in the city of Portsmouth, and think in the banquet room we're going to be at Roger Brown's. So, but it's just exciting right now, man. Just to when you know you're in your purpose, and it's like a aha moment, and you know you're going in the right direction,
Mm.
and I know I'm going in the right direction. So I encourage
Yeah.
anybody right now that's going through it, you got to come out of it. I know I may sound like a preacher, you know. Some people rather stay in here and go than go through it, you know. So just know you got to come out. Whatever you're going through, you
Yeah.
got to come out.
And people say, well, easy for you to say, well, he's not saying it will be
No,
easy.
didn't say it
He's
was gonna
just
be
saying
easy.
you got to come out of it.
You got to come
And
out of it.
you got to love and live your life.
That's
And
right.
every day you take a walk knowing that you're making history.
Yes, sir.
You're making history every day you get up and walk out.
That's right.
Somebody's going to remember you and the walk you made in your life. It
hmm
might not be on CNN or the national news,
That's
but
right.
your
There you
neighbor,
go.
people in your family, or something is going to remember the walk you took during your lifetime, and you're
That's
going to
right.
affect somebody. So
That's right.
think about that when you get up in the morning and say, I'm going to affect somebody, and it's going to help me. It's going to be therapeutic for me
That's right. There you go.
to have that kind of attitude and be
Yeah.
relentless.
And be relentless. That's right. Because I say it all the time. Be relentless about your own success because nobody else will. It's on
Nobody
you.
else will.
Yeah. Ain't nobody coming to
Indeed.
save us. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
David, I appreciate you, man. And you always, you're right there when I ask you. And we're gonna do some more of these
Yes, sir.
things. And anytime you have something that's coming up, let's come on and talk about it. Especially with
Gotcha.
this event you're talking about, the iron sharpens irons. I
Yes,
want to
sir.
kind of be there for that. That seems like that's going to be
Yeah,
something
that's gonna be good.
that's going to be
That's gonna be
worth
yeah.
for us men and women to
That's
be
right.
a part of.
Yeah.
Because
Uh-huh. That's right.
we
That's right.
also got to learn how to understand each other.
That's the
Because
truth.
we are different.
You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. That's right. Yes,
Ask
sir.
any married man.
Yes, sir.
We are different. But
Yes,
I
we are.
appreciate you, Davey, and you take care and have a great day. And I want to thank everybody for watching the Slim Nations One-on-Ones podcast. And remember, when you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, especially YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and share this with someone. Share this with someone that you know that might need a lift today or tomorrow. So let's see, somebody. Oh, okay. Do you know this gentleman
Yes, I
after
do. Yeah.
Anderson? Yeah.
Yeah. Good brother. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had him on the show a few weeks ago, and he had
Yes,
a
sir.
pretty interesting story. You know his story, in acting and everything like that.
Yes, sir. Good
All
brother
right,
there. Yes, sir, man.
take
But
care. We'll see you
hey,
next time,
all
man.
right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, James.
Thank you, man. You've been a blessing for me today.
Yes.
It's time for us to sit down at the table and turn this chaos into something stable. For love, one on one. We will not accept defeat, not on our land, not in our streets. Getting it done. Reaching out to save the youth, letting them know